Hey everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Title Scoop. So this week we are actually going to go over some of the points from a bulletin that we sent out last week. It was our risk management team regarding positive pay. I just thought it might be helpful to go over it since I know not everybody has time to read those, and thought it would be good just to hit on some of the points. The reason I wanted to talk about it is it was actually an agent in my region, and so I obviously know some of the facts of what happened. So what happened in this case is we have an agent who had changed software providers. So they had an old software system and they had an escrow account attached to it. When they got their new system, they got a new escrow account. However, they were still closing out the old one just due to old checks that needed disputed to the state. So they were working through those, trying to get rid of those so they could close the account completely. Now they still maintain positive pay on that account because they wanted to make sure someone was keeping an eye on it as they continue to work through those checks. So what happened here is there were 3 checks that were drawn on that account. So when the positive pay system actually flagged it, they reached out to the agent. They said, hey, these 3 checks have been presented to us. Can we cash them? When the agent looked into it, they figured out that these were not actually checks that they had written and they had been fraudulently created. So these checks, if you looked at them, looked just like what the agent's cashiers or another cashiers, their business checks looked like. Everything matched. And they were being written as if the title agent had written these checks. So in this case, the agent didn't suffer a loss because they did have positive pay still on that old account. So if you don't remember what positive pay is, I do believe we've gone over this in the past, but as a reminder, positive pay is a system really that's provided by your bank. It's usually going to cost you some amount. I don't know the pricing, so you're going to have to get with your bank to know that. But basically what it is you're going to present the bank a list of all the checks that you have written off your account for a certain time period that day, or depending on what it is, usually it's going to be daily. And then your bank is going to cross-reference those checks to see if they've been presented to the bank. Any checks that have been presented to the bank and are on that list are going to clear. Any that are not on that list, the bank is going to say, hey, agent, what about these checks? Sometimes there is an explanation and sometimes there's not. If there's not an explanation, it could be fraud. And if you determine that, those checks are not going to be honored by the bank. You're just going there. That's when the bank and you are going to obviously work together to determine if this is fraud. And again, you're going to have to work through it with the bank, but then also probably your underwriter, you're going to want to let us know. So there's also another type of positive pay that's called reverse positive pay, and it works essentially the opposite, where the bank provides you a list that have been presented, and then you're going to work through that list to see if those checks are ones that you have written and should be cleared. You're going to send that batch essentially daily and let them know. Usually it's daily. Like I said, it's a pretty short time frame where you're going to say, yes, these checks should be honored. However, if there are checks on there and you haven't written those checks out, again, same thing. You're going to work with the bank to determine if this is fraudulent and whether those checks should be. In both cases, the bank is not going to honor checks that have not really been authorized by you with their positive pay system, or depending on whether or not you've given a separate authorization for a certain check. Now, again, it is strongly encouraged that you maintain positive pay or reverse positive pay on your escrow accounts. It's just a really good safeguard to prevent escrow losses. As our agent found out a couple weeks ago, it could happen so quickly. They had an old escrow account, and because of that positive pay, they didn't lose any money where they could have if they had stopped the positive pay system when they quit using that escrow account. So great job on behalf of our agent for maintaining it. And if you guys don't have it and have questions, reach out to a member of our risk management team. They're always happy to talk to you about it, or talk to your bank. Your bank is going to have the systems in place to find out what's going to work best for you. Again, if for some reason you believe you have one of the checks that you have has been fraudulent, anytime there's fraud related, let us know. Let our risk management team know if it's escrow related. We want to know that so that we can either work with you or alert the other agents to things that are happening out there. So with that, we're going to call it a week. If you guys have questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.